Welcome to another episode of 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life. Today we're going to do another questions and answers video. Some of the topics I hear all the time is education, success, and living a life that's truly yours. So let's dive right in. Do you believe college is necessary for success? And I think I covered this in a previous episode, and the answer is no. But do I value education? Absolutely. Education is not defined by going to college alone. Education is defined through life itself. Should we go to college? It's not mandatory. Life can be considered college in itself, just from the lessons that we learn. You don't have to go to college to learn how to walk. You don't have to go to college to learn how to talk. You don't have to go to college to read and write. In fact, some people are homeschooled. What makes it successful is not whether we attend a university, whether we attend Harvard or the local P-Tech or the local junior college. Education in itself can help us be successful, but it's hard to be successful at anything if you don't learn anything. What's the most valuable lesson you learned outside of the classroom? That's a very good question. Mistakes are teachers. I made some big mistakes early in becoming an arborist, being a business owner. I can give you countless stories, but I'll stick to just this one. There's a particular moment that the wind was too high and I shouldn't have been trimming trees, period. But I needed this money. The bills were due, so I took an uncalculated risk. And we roped, we cabled this limb, the wind took it and crashed it into somebody's pool cage. Not only was I humiliated, but it was on a golf course. So it's hard to even explain. But from that moment, it taught me something. It taught me humility. It taught me how to be humble. But most importantly, we made it right. We finished the job. We fixed the job. Outside of the feedback that I got from the passerbyers that was just giving it to me, the Monday morning quarterback. So I wouldn't have done it like that. Oh man, you guys are not that bright, are you? And there was nothing I can say. I was so embarrassed. But because I stayed humble and everything was made, the customer was made whole, the screen was fixed, and everything was, all the pieces were picked back up. I earned more business in that same neighborhood than I can ever imagine. But it was a teachable moment. It taught me when the winds are high, I'm not flying. And that's just how simple it became. Those are some of the best those are some of the best teachers. Textbook can't teach you that. I can teach the basics. I can understand the concept, but until it becomes practical, it's hard to put those pieces to the puzzle again. I can learn how to fly a plane. I can learn how to fly a helicopter. I can learn so many things in the classroom, but until it's put into real life situations, how good is it for you? I had a teacher once tell me at a P-Tech, he went out on the road with a driver that was going to get his CDL license. And for whatever reason, the guy froze. He said he froze and I had to have him pulled to the side because he was afraid to do a lane change. He's like, I don't want to hurt anybody. I can't do this. It's too big. And at that moment, he did all that schooling to learn to become a CDL driver. And doing the actual test when it counted the most, being in a real life situation outside of the classroom, actually roads with other drivers, he couldn't do it. Whatever you do, make sure it's what you want to do and it's not what somebody else what you want to do or you think is paying enough money so you want to do it. I'll tell you one of the jobs that I would love and love not to do. I love the game of football. I played it in high school, but I can promise you there's no amount of money in the world to make me put on pads in my 20s or now in my 40s to take those hits that those guys take. It sounds good in theory. Oh, you're going to make a lot of money. You get hit 1, 2 times, you're going to realize quickly, this ain't for me. Why do people look down on trade schools or blue collar workers? This was simple. Ego and arrogance. People just love to have a reason to knock somebody else. They think they're up here and you're down here, which is farther from the truth. And then where we get caught up and we shrink when we think what we do for a living is less than what somebody else is doing. There's no job, period, to look down on. There's no trait to look down on. And sometimes in society, people make you feel if you're not making $1 million or didn't graduate from Harvard or one of these schools, you're not good enough. And that is farthest from the truth. Number one, we're creators. You're going to hear me say that a lot. We are creators. It doesn't matter if you create a life and it takes you to P-Tech or a trade school. They're not frowning upon Bill Gates. Steve Harvey's not being frowned upon. They don't have that traditional education that, quote unquote, most people say you must have. And I must say this, I do not speak against education. I love it. But you don't have to go to a university to be educated. That's all I'm simply saying. And you can prove it to yourself by doing the research. You can take my word for it. I never suggest somebody just take my word. Back it up. Don't just look at one source. There's so many different sources out there. Nowadays, it's hard to know what to believe. Back in the day, you had to pick up a encyclopedia. You had to pick up different books and do some real research. Now you have AI. You can click stuff, but you got to make sure it's the right AI or the right website that you've been navigated to get the answer that you may be looking for or seeking. Do you think everyone should be a millionaire? Absolutely not. Wealth comes with a lot of weight on your shoulder, and a lot of people can't handle that weight. Can you imagine if everybody was millionaires? Then millionaires wouldn't have this mystique anyway. Because if everybody was millionaires, how can I say this and it come out right? If everybody was millionaires, who would do the things that millionaires don't do? Where would you go? Where would it be the service that we, how can you climb through the ranks? Because there's no plateau, there's no level to be at. If everybody was millionaires, what would this world be? That would be very interesting. It wouldn't have the same sting. It wouldn't have the same drive. It wouldn't have it wouldn't be any true value because everybody's the same. And not that a millionaire makes somebody more valuable than another person. Remember this, money is a tool, and that's all it is. It can buy you things. Some people think it can buy you position. It can take stress away if you manage the money well. Moving on to the next question. How do you define success personally? For me, success is freedom. And I'll define that a little bit more. When I was incarcerated as a teenager, I became freer than I've been in my entire life. I was freer than most people will ever be in a lifetime because I figured something out there. Not only how to become a creator, and that being a creator is what life is all about, but being incarcerated, there was no bills. There was no real obligations but to do what your assignment was for that day. And it taught me something. I learned to be free inside my cage before I was outside of the cage. Next question. What roles does money actually play in happiness? Money definitely solves problems, but it doesn't give you peace. I've met people on both sides of the aisle. I've met very wealthy people without peace. I've met very wealthy people with peace. I met people that's not wealthy with peace, and I've met people that's not wealthy with no peace. So money is no more than a tool, and it can solve problems, but you have to have what we call it is management. You have to be able to manage what you have, and you can't think money can fix everything and bring you peace. It only can take you so far. Being a creator is going to bring you more peace because remember, money is a byproduct of your success. Some people say money makes you successful. That's farthest from the truth. And I can start naming a laundry list of people that had hundreds of millions of dollars and they're broke because they didn't manage. Next question. How do you keep learning after school is over? I would say stay curious. Keep reading books. Keep self-educating yourself. Understanding what can I do that doesn't cost any much for me and my family. People think of family vacation or doing something with your family is, oh, you have to spend money. And money sometimes can bring stress levels if you don't have a balance with it. My children, all my children are involved in something. Gabby's in gymnastics. Michael's in soccer right now. David's in baseball. Olivia's in the marching band. That's peace for me. I won't miss their games. The only time I miss a game of any of my kids, if there's a conflict of interest, that there's 2 games going on at a time, and then that's when me and my wife have to split up and we decide who's going where. That's peace. And I say that because I've been on the other side of that coin as a student athlete in high school and not have family presence there. Again, if you read my book or listened to the show at all, I didn't grow up with my dad. He wasn't there. He chose. That was his choice. I have no animosity in my heart about it, but he just wasn't there. I experienced that neglect. That I experienced that loneliness of not having not just my dad's present to support me, but a parent or family member present to support me. And as I looked around and saw all the other kids or student athletes with the support of their family, it made me feel a certain type of way. And I vowed right in here, not out loud, right in here, if I ever have kids, God bless me kids, I'm going to be that parent to show up. What's one piece of advice would you give someone starting out in life or business? Keep God first. Never chase anyone else's dream. Don't be influenced by what other people want in life. Create the life that you want for yourself. It's easy to look at Instagram, TikTok videos, Facebook. There's so much out there trying to sell us something, making us feel like we won't be successful or have a true life for ourselves unless we do this. You know, they talk down on certain careers and jobs, and you have to be able to separate that noise and throw it out of your ears and realize that you are a creator. It doesn't matter what you create. So what if you want to be in real estate? Be in real estate. If you want to be a top-notch salesperson, be a salesperson. But if that's not the life that you want for yourself, why waste your time chasing or following something that was never meant to be your dream or your vision for your life? How do you balance ambition with contentment? It's okay to want more, but through your faith and a foundation with God, you create and you find that balance. You create that balance and you bring it together. And how do you do that? It's like the previous question. You do it through setting goals. You do it through being a creator. Some of these answers may seem like they're the same because the core and the base of them are. If you stay a creator, you'll cease from chasing other people's reality for your own life. Again, Chick-fil-A is different from McDonald's. McDonald's is different from Burger King. And Burger King is different from Wendy's. You know, if I go to McDonald's, I'm not going because I want a Whopper. I'm going because I want the McDonald's cheeseburger and fries, not the Whopper and fries. And so you have to learn the difference. Like what you want for yourself has to be a definition. What you want for yourself has to be a definite idea and commitment to what you want and not anyone else. What's the bottom line on education in life? Never stop learning. I'm going to say that again. Never stop learning. Respect everyone's path. And remember, you are a creator. You don't have to follow someone else's script for their life. Good, bad, or indifferent, your life is your life to build. It doesn't get any simpler than that. So there you have it. 10 questions, 10 answers. I hope somewhere in this message that you find that spark to help you on your path to create the life that you want from yourself. Education doesn't define us. It's not a one size fit all. You get to create the life that you want for yourself. Like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great week.